Hi, this is Laura from The Woken Mind, and I'm here to bring a very important message from Spirit. Now, this message is an extension of the last video that I did on the mystery of the sacred union between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. But this message is specifically for or about a group of masculines who are living out the archetypes in a very literal way. This group of masculines that I'm specifically picking up on and have been for a couple years now is a group of masculines that served as prophets in their past lives. They served as kings. They're extremely powerful. And in this life, they are going through a really challenging initiation process where they are clearing the karma with the Jezebel. The Jezebel spirit has a long history of trying to hold back the prophets of God. Her main goal is to stop the prophets from conveying the messages that God is delivering to the collective in order to move us forward in the evolution process. In order for humanity to ascend, the sacred union must occur, which means the feminine, the divine feminine, has to be reintegrated into our physical reality, which I talk a lot about in my last video, so you can check that out if you want more information on that. But in order for this to happen, the old feminine, the outdated feminine, the toxic feminine has to be defeated. This group of old soul masculines that are prophets or former prophets and kings are working really hard to defeat that old feminine and that Jezebel spirit, and then to incorporate the divine feminine and have that inner sacred union. And a lot of them are playing this out in their family structures. Now, this is where it gets a little bit weird. So if this message doesn't resonate with you, just please click off. If it does, then you're here for a reason. But in 2018, Mary Magdalene and the Sisterhood of the Rose started working in the spiritual realm to help free these masculines from the karmic entanglement that they placed themselves in with the Jezebel spirit. At a soul level, these masculines actually agreed to incarnate and merge bloodlines with the Jezebel. So a lot of them actually are married to individuals who are carrying the Jezebel spirit, and they have children and families with these individuals. And this makes it extremely challenging for them to remove this toxic entity from their lives without destroying themselves or their bloodline. So around 2018, God started working in the spiritual realm to help remove the spells that this masculine collective was under that made them attracted and lust after this superficial entity, which is the Jezebel spirit. And so he was kind of just like slowly nudging them awake. They're almost like sleeper agents who are getting triggered with an awakening that's supposed to happen at a certain time. So now it's going to get super weird. So again, click off if this doesn't resonate. But what I received in 2018 was a message that an American rapper, Kanye West, was actually part of this collective that is working to clear out this attachment to the superficial and the Jezebel spirit. And his wife is the representation of that Jezebel energy. Now, what's really important to remember is that we are not fighting against flesh here. This is not a criticism of people. Each of us is capable of entertaining darker forces, and we all work through playing that role sometime during our incarnation here on Earth. The Jezebel spirit represents the vanity and the superficial that we all have to conquer. We all have this within us, but a lot of celebrities volunteer to play out these archetypes in a very exaggerated way. And the Kardashian family is an example of this superficial materialistic lifestyle that's based off of images. Now, the Jezebel spirit does not want the prophets to rise up and achieve the sacred union with the divine feminine and to merge with the feminine, which means that they then relinquish their attachment to living a superficial life based on appearances and images and material things and turn to their connection to the spiritual realm, to God, to their divine purpose and the reason why they're here. Kanye's been playing this process out on the world stage for a while now, and you can see how in 2018, when the Sisterhood of the Rose was working with God to help clear this attachment to the material and to lust and image and the superficial, that Kanye started feeling conflict. Kim Kardashian is a self-proclaimed Christian, and she actually grew up in the Catholic Church and going to Catholic school. But part of what this collective of masculines is working to conquer is the church, and they're trying to demonstrate a direct connection to God and Christ that is internal. You can see that Kanye began to express his allegiance to God in a very subconscious way through the lyrics in some of his songs as he was experiencing this awakening. He specifically states that the Jezebel spirit doesn't stand a chance and that she will be defeated and he will protect his family. The issue here is that his wife and his mother-in-law are still clinging to that superficial, to that Jezebel entity. So in order for him to defeat that entity, he's going to have to set very hard boundaries with his family. And it is a very difficult process for these masculines. Kanye is a Gemini, that's his sun sign. Now, I'm not very familiar with astrology because I get a lot of my messages, or all of my messages really directly from Spirit. But I do look at astrology to confirm the messages that I'm receiving. And I was told that because Kanye is a Gemini and that we just moved into the Gemini North node, this is giving him the extra courage to go through this process. This group of masculines is going to be challenged by the people around them. Their friends and their family are going to tell them that they're crazy, and they will be experiencing a dark night of the soul, which will bring out some experiences of, that could be labeled as mental illness, but really are just this breakdown and submission to the divine. This resurrection, this rebirth that they're going through, that can be explained through Carl Jung's theory of enantiodromia, which I talk about in my last video, can be very disturbing to watch for friends and family who are not connected to Source and don't understand that God is working through these people. These are lyrics, again, from Kanye West's album, Jesus is King. So you can see that subconsciously he understands what he needs to do, but his ego still is trapped in this state of conflict where he still is clinging to the material world and to his comfort and to his desire to maintain his image and to be a good father and to be a good family member and not to let his children down, because this group of masculines is a really they're good, decent people, and they don't want to really hurt anyone. But what's going on is this breakdown has to occur in order for them to fully serve Christ. So with the coronavirus that we're experiencing, there's been some articles where people have been equating it to the breakdown of society, the collective enantiodromia. And it was necessary for this to happen in order for God to isolate the prophets so that they could hear him, because they were distracting themselves with the material things and clinging to the superficial. If this group of masculines can achieve breaking the spell that the Jezebel spirit has them under, and can achieve that inner union with the feminine within them, and can access Christ consciousness, they will help lead the way of building a new earth paradigm here and pretty much saving us from this matrix reality. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, you should look out for my new video that I'm going to be doing. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to it, but it's going to be on the healing that has to happen with the Lilith template and with those souls who are an embodiment of the feminine and who are here to ground the Mary Magdalene and Sisterhood of the Rose template. I'm sending you all lots of love and strength and courage as always. I believe that God will always find a way and that we all will be victorious.